You say you haven't been the same since you had your little crash, but you might feel better if they gave you some cash. The more I think about it, old Billy was right. Let's kill all the lawyers, kill them tonight. You don't want to work, you want to live like a king, but the big bad world doesn't owe you a thing.
Hey man,
Sorry, back now. Hey,
ain't it good to be alive and be in Tennessee?
absolutely.
I guess our previous podcast was on how does a family member choose a nursing home. This one is on how our law firm chooses to represent someone in a nursing home litigation case.
So here on Two Marks, One Mic, we're going to kind of go through the steps in the process that when we receive a call from somebody who's had a loved one that's been injured or died in a nursing home, where there appears to have been some fault on behalf of the nursing home and their staff, how do we go about taking that information and making a decision about a case? So if we can just walk through the steps. See, Mark, we get a call where somebody says, hey.
We get a call. You know, we're one of just several firms in Chattanooga that take nursing home cases because, you know, it is a medical malpractice case. It's a medical malpractice case. And so a medical malpractice case, you have to jump through a lot of hoops just to get inside the courtroom. And so you have to do certified mailings, you have to do, follow up, you have to give them certain number of days to
providing them with
respond.
releases to get information.
It's just a lot of things you have to do in a medical malpractice case that you don't normally have to do in your typical civil lawsuits, you know. And you have to have, and it's a medical malpractice case, so you have to have a doctor and a nurse kind of look at it and say, yeah, this is medical malpractice.
Right.
Even though 85% of our practice is based upon pressure injuries, what was called back in the day, and still is to a lot of people, bed sores.
Right.
You know, bed sores, and you say to yourself, you know, and bed sores are staged 1 through 4, and some are unstageable. The real bad ones are unstageable, and they're caused just by, you know, common negligence of not turning a resident, not change if the resident is incontinent and not making sure the diaper is changed in a timely manner. That causes a pressure injury. Shear injuries, transferring the resident to and from the wheelchair, could cause a pressure injury. And a pressure injury, a stage 1 pressure injury can become a stage 2, a stage 3, a stage 4 if you don't properly document and treat the first stage 1 pressure injury. So, you know, but used to, in my mind anyway, I mean, they were so obvious that it's kind of crazy that you have to hire a nurse to say, there's a pressure injury, what caused that? Because it's just common sense, you know, it's caused if they're properly turned, a proper diet, also nutrition plays into a pressure injury as well. And we have some horrendous cases of unstageable bed sores, and they're all back. The worst ones are really in the sacral area, just above the little butt right there, where you get it because you're just laying there and no one is turning you, and you're knocking it out. And a stage 1 can become a stage 2 within 24 hours if not properly treated. Then they become infected. Now, because it's a pressure injury in your butt area, that's the worst place to have a pressure injury.
Exactly.
You know why? Because you got you have to ride your butt.
Fecal matter.
Yeah, exactly. Urine, everything else, you know.
And the thing about these are preventable injuries.
Yes.
If a staff is properly, if a facility is properly staffed and properly trained.
Good point. What's happening now, though, John Mark? You know, now there's another, and this is once again back to expert testimony, because now nursing homes are defending on, was the pressure injury preventable or not preventable.
Right.
And they're actually arguing now that they're not preventable. You know, this is an unpreventable pressure injury. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. This is not preventable. These are unpreventable because of their staffing.
Well, you know, this defense has evolved because
they are lowering their standard of care to kind of mask the fact they're not freaking hiring the staff. You know, we have been doing this for 35 years, okay? You know, and typically we see this, okay? You know, a lot of what we do is to change bad behavior where a business realizes what they're currently doing is hurting people. Best Buy is a great example, you know. Best Buy had no policy about switching out rugs after a rainstorm. And we had a case one time, someone walked in Best Buy, had not rained for 2 hours. but the same rain-soaked rug was there. She walked across it and, of course, slipped and broke her hip.
Absolutely.
Our theory of liability is, of course, they're saying, well, it was not raining outside, you know.
Well, it had been raining. It stopped raining.
It stopped raining,
Yeah.
you know. And so what and our theory of liability was, and we won on this, was that basically there's no policy or procedure in switching out the rugs after it stopped raining. There is now.
Right.
There would be, because we sued them.
Hey, it's common sense. You know,
Absolutely.
you put a dry rug for people to dry their feet on
Common
versus a wet
sense is
rug.
not so common, man. You know, and so we actually told Best Buy this is a better policy, and by God, they're doing it right now.
Exactly.
Nursing homes, we have filed hundreds of lawsuits against nursing homes, and our theory of liability is this: you need to hire more staff.
Exactly.
You need to hire more CNAs. Instead of, you know, paying our clients, you know, 6 figures, you need to take that 6 figures and invest in hiring CNAs, NAs, LPNs, RNs. Do they do it? Piss no, they don't do it.
So,
you know, so they actually know we all know what the problem is, don't we?
We do.
The problem is they don't have enough staff.
So when we get these calls and the clients come in and we know some of the nursing homes in the area, they're the culprits.
Culprits, man. That's a John Mark, that's a wordsmith.
So we go through to analyze, you know, what are their injuries?
Right.
Were they preventable? Usually they always
You
are.
know,
Was a fall risk properly assessed? All these different things that nursing homes are supposed to do that they don't do because understaffed and inadequately trained.
And for us to take a case, I don't care if it's we need a picture of the bed sore, the pressure injury.
Right.
I mean, that's very important. We do take phone calls where they call in. My mom had a pressure injury. Did you take a picture of it? No, I didn't take a picture of it. She's passed away. I mean, and there's no photograph. It's very important for us when we evaluate whether or not to take a case. I need photographs.
The other thing is too, if you're taking photographs, if conditions exist, they're in the room or in the bed where your loved one is lying, where they're there, where they spend their day.
Mm-hmm.
Those are good photographs to have as well.
Have to have those. You know, you have to have those. As a matter of fact, you know, that's a very important element. So someone calls in, we have them come in, we have to get the medical records. I mean, it's a very expensive endeavor because these nursing homes never settle without a lawsuit being filed.
And boy, do they resist.
And they fight you all the time, And so we have to get the medical records, very expensive because it's usually just you've been in a nursing home for a long time, so they're very expensive. So we're very selective about the nursing home cases that we take because you're going to be, involved in litigation for 18 months, to actually get them to a position where they're going to offer something at mediation, or they will not try these cases. They will not try these cases, but it will take a mediation though, because they don't want to get in front of a jury and put on Elmo up there on the screen a picture of the pressure injury, stage 4 pressure injury, because they have really a jury sitting there saying, that could be my mother and my father. And that's what makes the nursing home cases so unique, is that when you're picking a jury in your normal car wreck case or a fall down case, those 12 people in there may or may not have ever been or would be involved in a car wreck or a fall down. But those 12 people in a nursing home case, I mean,
they all got parents and grandparents.
Absolutely, sooner or later, or themselves.
Yeah. So there's 3 things right off the bat: facts, photographs, and documents. And with those 3 things, we can go to the next stages,
right.
And that is having our experts review the documents and the photographs and the facts.
And because it's expensive, we start with the nurse consultant to go through the medical records and pick, and she's priceless. Our nurse consultant is priceless because she can go through the medical records and just pick out these things like, there was one case where the nurse documented that our client, didn't have a left foot. It was amputated. It was our client had both feet.
Right, exactly.
There's also cases where our client was in the ER for treatment because of the nursing home, but they kept documenting like he was still there. This guy was in the hospital for 4 days, and they continued to document their chart at the nursing home as if he was still in room 218. Can you believe that?
And there's another red flag when we see that. Oftentimes, every nursing home, there's emergency contact family member that's provided to the nursing home for them to be called when there's an incident. Oftentimes we have clients that have been injured in a nursing home,
Right.
and guess what? They're taken to the emergency room because they have whatever problem.
Right.
Sometimes 2 or 3 days
Yeah.
later,
Never call.
And guess what? The
No.
emergency contacts never
No,
call.
No, never call. Never call.
Never call.
No red flag right there. So we have a nurse consultant go through all the records, to kind of give us a warm fuzzy, because the nurse consultant is really not enough when it comes to trial. You have to
Yeah,
have a
she
medical doctor.
creates kind of a
She
roadmap
does.
with the documents.
Because these individuals bill by the hour and we pay for their time, we kind of want to call the issues for the medical doctor,
Right.
because he's going to be the one charging the most time per hour. And so the nurse consultant provides a roadmap
Right.
for the doctor to go through and decide whether
And
or not
don't get
they're-
us wrong, the doctor reviews all the records as well. What we try to do is pinpoint the real issues
Right.
in the case.
Right.
So when
Is
the
that-
doctor reviews the
Right.
records, we
Yeah.
know the roadmap, we know
Yeah.
where it's going, and
Right.
the doctor can give us that valuable
Yeah.
opinion
Right.
about
Right.
the injuries being
Yeah.
causally related to the conduct
Yeah.
of the nursing home.
And this is the Bible. This is the Bible right here. This is the Bible of pressure injuries, wound management. Lawsuits filed. We have our proof. They have their proof. And then we have a deposition, and I get to ask questions about the nurses and how they evaluate the pressure injuries in this. And of course the nurses always talk about this wound management second edition guides, but they've never read it, and so during a deposition, it's just like shooting fish in a barrel, because I can turn to a page when someone actually is checked in. This is what we always say, all right? When a resident is checked into a nursing home, they do something called the Braden scale, and the Braden scale is an indicator about whether or not the propensity of developing pressure injuries while they're in the nursing home. And they spend a lot of time doing this Braden scale, and they assign a score. And the lower the score, the more likely they are to have a pressure injury. And so you'd be amazed at the inability of the nurses to actually tell me in a deposition what the Braden scale is, what the Braden score is, and actually go through the steps and accurately do a Braden score upon admission too. So we use this. This is great ammunition during a deposition, to cross-examine the nurse. And there's a reason these cases settle at mediation without going to trial. At mediation, they do get around to offering a fair amount of money at mediation, but they will not do it before mediation. But I know for a fact they will not go to court on these right here, And so it's usually in the best interest of the client to settle for a fair amount of money. There's still a part of me that it's a fair amount of money, but I still want to take him to task and go to court on it, just to have the case heard in front of a jury in Hamilton County. But more likely than not, if you work the case up the way it should work up, a fair amount of money is offered at mediation, but not before mediation.
Now, Mark, pressure sores are the bulk of the nursing home
Right.
cases we see, but there's a substantial amount
Right.
where there are falls from beds, falls from being transferred, falls because of an individual's bed rail, somebody
Yes,
placed
right,
up.
exactly.
So
Broken bed rails. I mean,
broken bed
there's
rails.
cases where there's a broken bed rail, and this is a case where I can just get so fired up because a broken bed rail, and what their solution was, Mo, put a mattress there. They put a freaking mattress on the floor.
So you fall on the mattress.
Yeah,
Fall out of one mattress
yes,
onto another mattress.
However, if you fall on a mattress and you still hit your wrist like this,
Exactly.
guess what? Your wrist still breaks.
Yeah.
Instead of fixing the bed rail, let's go get a mattress out of someone's room.
Yeah.
And this is where our parents are living, people, because there's not enough inspectors in Tennessee to actually inspect these nursing homes, man. I mean, it's terrible.
Right, so
it's bad.
So one of the things,
Broken bones, you're right.
One of the things,
broken
the
wrist.
broken
That
bones-
is a broken wrist case right there, where someone rolled out of the bed because they had a non-functioning bed rail. You couldn't put it up.
So one of the things the nursing homes are supposed to do when you have these patients come in or these residents come in is there's supposed to be a fall risk where they're assessed
absolutely.
their risk
Right.
of falling,
Yes.
just like there's a risk for
Right.
pressure sores.
Yeah.
There's a fall risk analysis that's supposed to be performed to where the nursing home knows those individuals that are more like there's a varying degree of how significant
Right.
or what are the chances of somebody falling, but nonetheless, assessing somebody as a fall risk helps put some protocols in place
Yes.
to try to help prevent that. Well, guess what? If you're not properly doing a fall risk, what
No,
you're not
no,
doing
absolutely.
is you're not
No,
properly
no,
assessing
no.
those patients or residents
You're not.
that are going to be that are subject to a fall. So these are important things as well as how do they go about assessing, performing the fall
Right.
fall risk,
Right.
things they assess. Is the person a fall risk or not? And if they're not properly doing that, guess what? There's a lot of patients or
Yeah.
residents that are
Yeah.
fall risk.
Right.
I keep saying patients or residents because sometimes we have people that are on a short-term basis
Right.
versus a long-term basis, but nonetheless, the care should be the same. And if they're not properly assessing these people as a fall risk, they're more likely to fall.
And the sad thing is about short term versus long term is short term is usually less than 100 days, and they're assessed at that as, and usually it's rehab where you have surgery,
Right.
you know, and you just go to nursing home just to kind of rehab and get your strength back, you know. It's really sad those cases where someone gets a pressure injury. In that case, the surgery went splendid. They're supposed to get physical therapy.
Right,
They're
right.
not getting physical therapy. A pressure injury develops. It becomes infected. They go back to the hospital and they die.
Right.
Terrible, terrible. It's our job at Warren Griffin to hold that nursing home accountable for your loved one's injuries. If you have any questions about a nursing home, just give us a call at WG and we'll answer those questions. This has been Two Marks and
One mic. And
I'm
you can
so-
tell
I'm
by
sorry.
this.
I'm sorry,
You can tell by
guys.
this. This is an area where CMARC is
Oh, I
passionate
just
about.
it pisses me off.
It gets mad about these nursing
It's
homes
just-
that
well-
fail to do what they're supposed to do. And hey,
Right.
when you're passionate,
We know
as
what they're
CMARC
supposed
is about
to.
this.
What gets me mad is like I said, you know, we know what the problem is, John Mark. The problem is there's no standards in Nashville laws passed where they say you have to have a certain
Ratio.
ratio.
Yeah.
There's no, you know, there's no law that requires liability insurance. I gotta drive a car. I've got to have insurance, but not nursing homes, and that would change a lot.
A lot of and
If-
absolutely.
listen, that's the point of the spear right there, because if they change the law requiring nursing homes to have liability insurance, they will have to staff up because they would have to keep liability insurance.
Right.
That right there, it's an easy fix. I wonder why it's not been fixed. I mean, what influences do you think you have in Nashville with the nursing home industry, special interest to keep that law off the books? You know,
Okay.
this special interest in Nashville also changed the law about COVID. You know, during COVID, they said
Hey,
that
there's some huge national companies
I know.
located in Tennessee.
I'll close on this, you know, because of the law. This is Athens has a nursing home before COVID really hit, but COVID was out there, and they knew it was out there. I guess COVID hit around March 2020, around there, you know. And this same time frame, this nursing home had this thing called cookies, clowns, and balloons, and they would go to room to room without masks. These are their employees now, you know. It's just during COVID, you know. It's just cranking up, but they knew it was out there, you know. And they were not wearing, and there was a mask requirement, but they weren't wearing masks. There was a testing requirement. They weren't being tested, and they went room to room, balloons, cookies, and clowns. No masks, no testing, and one of the clowns had COVID.
Balloons,
to
cookies,
room
and
to-
clowns
yes.
turned into COVID.
COVID. 8 people died. And we can't hold them accountable because the law was changed in Nashville. This has been Two Marks and One Mic.
Two Marks, One mic. Thank you, guys.